What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Hopefully, everybody's having an awesome Saturday. Full slate of college football games. We got some dandies on right now. Number 1, Texas. Number 3, Ohio State. I know we're keeping an eye on the Tennessee Volunteer game down here, just about an hour north of Knoxville. I know the Wisconsin Badgers got their big dub the other night. It's just an exciting time as football season's obviously kicking back off. Now, we got a quick little episode for you guys right now, and then we're going to be back tonight at 6:30 p.m. Central Time to do a Micah Parsons Chalk Talk. If you're new here and wondering what Chalk Talk is, it's where we break down the tape. We'll go in and show you some of Micah's best plays from the 2024 season there with the Cowboys, kind of talk about his strengths, the few weaknesses he has. We'll probably discuss those as well, but we're just going to kind of break down the tape and have a good time as the celebration continues, landing one of the more popular player trades in the history of the National Football League. It was so cool seeing the Packers in the headlines here lately. But again, today what we're going to do real quick, we're going to dive into the contracts. We hit on it a little bit yesterday. Now we're going to talk about Micah Parsons' contract and how it affects the 2025 cap, 2026 cap, and even on down the road with the 2027 cap, and how you could see kind of the blueprint that the Packers have laid in place in terms of the future of their cap space. Before we do that, though, you guys do that YouTube stuff for me. We greatly appreciate it. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you're new here, this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily. We'll be doing pregame shows, postgame shows, film breakdown, contractual aspects of the season as well, breaking down the numbers for you guys and gals. It's going to be an awesome season, so make sure you're subscribed. Click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. Let's waste no time and get into it here. Put an article up over on Patreon. Make sure you check it out, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, or scan the QR code in the upper right. $3 get you access to everything at Patreon. It'll also get you entered into some of our giveaways. We're going to be giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness card tomorrow on our live stream, so make sure you're a member if you want to get yourself an opportunity to win some really cool free memorabilia, if you will. Now, if you're not familiar with Patreon, you'd rather just support us on YouTube, that gets you entered in as well. Just click that join tab underneath this video right here, and you'll be all squared away. So let's get into it. I know Chris says the most anticipated Chalk Talk of the offseason. It's going to be awesome, Chris. I'm really excited about it, man. I've already got all the sacks put together. So now we're going to go back and try to find some of the run stops, maybe some of the plays he made in the passing game, if there were any, and, in terms of pass coverage, and we'll break it all down. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's talk a little contracts here. Let's nerd out over some numbers. Again, we hit this. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but we already hit on the Micah Parsons contract. It's very, very interesting how the Packers chose to do this. And, I always tell people the important numbers for me is there's 3 things, right? You always want to look at the cap hit. That's what affects, how you can build your roster that current year. You want to look at the dead cap layout, how the dead cap comes into play in future years. So you can kind of see, all right, here's when the Packers could start to get out. And then you also want to look into things, in terms of the signing bonus, what's base salary and what isn't, because with base salary, you can convert that to a signing bonus and then kick that on down the road, whether it's in voidable years, just tack it onto the backside of the contract and free up cap space. The goal here is what Brian Gutekunst and Russ Ball have done is they've opened up a Super Bowl contending window. And to me, it looks like 3 years. And again, it doesn't mean they can't compete after that. It doesn't mean that it's a lock. They're going to compete during those 3 years. My opinion, the window's open where you could continue to add pieces if you want to. However, you're probably looking at this roster and going, you know what? If we can get the job done with the roster we got now with the addition of Micah Parsons, albeit we did lose one of our team leaders in Kenny Clark, if you can go win it now and not have to add too many other pieces, you can kind of set yourself up to re-sign some of these players in the near future. But again, the numbers I want you to key in on here, cap hit this year, man, this is glorious. So obviously it's the 5th year number, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's the final year of his Cowboys contract, $9.9 million against the cap. This is according to Spot Track. Keep in mind, guys, this could change, okay? They do the best they can getting the information out as quick as they can, but sometimes you'll see some of these numbers, more details will come in, so just take that with a grain of salt as well. So $9.9 million against the cap this year. Next year it jumps to $19.2, still an absolute bargain. Check this out. The number we've been hearing is $48 million per, right? So you got 9.9 year 1, 19.2 year 2, and then 26.8 in year 3, as you can see here. Now, after that, let's look at the dead cap here. $60.8 million in dead cap, right? and your cap hit's going to be 26.8. So obviously he's going to be on the roster through 2027. There's no two ways about it. The other thing I want you to key in on too is there are option bonuses. Everyone likes to pretend like, especially on Twitter, that they understand the option bonus. They know exactly how the option bonus works. Most of the time, that's information that's between the coach or between the team and the player. Okay. Like let's rewind back to the Aaron Rodgers extension. Everybody was calling him the $50 million quarterback. Well, he's making $50 million a year, $50 million a year. And on this particular show, we were going, boy, y'all conveniently left off the existing years on the contract, right? Because that's the full contract. You got to look at it. This Micah Parsons deal isn't a 4-year deal, right? It's an extension onto a 1-year deal. Therefore, it's a 5-year deal at $210 million with, however much what we come up with, 120 guaranteed over the 5 years. So those are the real numbers that you're looking at. All right. So when you take into consideration the 5-year, you're looking at $42 million on average. So that's how you get the low cap hits up front, and they jump pretty dramatically here starting in 2028 to a 64.2. But again, no one truly knows about the option bonuses, right? And there's some details of when it triggers, when it doesn't, right? Like they've got to make a decision early, and if they decide to move on early, let's say after 2026, then you're going to be absorbing a huge cap hit, right? Well, when you look at the dead cap here at 64.2 and 17.6 in dead cap with 64.2 cap hit, that would suggest you're going to have a very, very significant cap relief if you decided to move on before the 2028 season. However, we don't know about the option bonus. If I had to guess, you're probably looking at somewhere between 30 to 45 million in dead cap if you chose to move on in 28. But if you'll notice avoidable years on the backside, when the Packers do this, right, they don't do it a lot. When they do this with 2 voidable years on the backside of a contract, typically their plan is to use those voidable years to convert base salary to signing bonus, i.e. look at 2028 where the base salary is 40.5 million, right? Convert some of that to signing bonus. Let's say you converted 20 million to signing bonus there, right? In 2028, you decide he's 29 years old. You want to hold on to him. You convert $20 million to signing bonus and then spread that out equally over 2030 and 2031, 10 million there, 10 million there. You just freed up 20 million in cap. So now his number is actually 44 million. You could get crazy and go to the 30 million mark and reduce that base salary or reduce that cap hit by 30 million and then tack on 15 and 15 at the end, right? So those are the things you got to take into consideration. The point is, this is very, very, very cap friendly until 2028. So there's no reason to even look at this contract, even worry about this contract until 2028. Okay. What's that tell you? 25, 26, 27, Super Bowl windows open, low cap numbers for one of the best pass rushers in the league. And you're ready to, if you need to, add a couple more pieces. You can do a lot of adjusting. So they've given themselves a lot of freedom here. Now let's move along to what we really wanted to talk about. What's that mean for the cap? All right. In 2025, according to Spot Track, as it sits right now, the Packers still have, with the addition of Micah Parsons, they still have 14.3 million in cap space. Now, a big misconception, and notice the dead cap is 54.6. That's from Kenny Clark, right? That dead cap accelerating. So that's why you've got that number significantly higher. Now, again, Kenny wipes off the books next year, and that's when you're looking at the cap hit next year or the cap next year and going, holy cow, we're in a really good spot to maybe add a piece or two. If you want to, it's going to catch up in 4 years. But again, the cap's going to continue to go up. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. You're going to see the salary cap doom and gloomers on X. I feel like I give this full disclosure every single year right before the season starts. And then when the season starts, they move off of this is going to destroy this franchise. This is going to destroy our salary cap. You don't hear about it any longer. And then next year, about this time, right before the season, the doom and gloomers reappear. They love the interaction on X. Don't buy into it. You've got 2 of the brightest minds in Russ Ball and Brian Gutekunst at the helm, and they know how to operate this cash over cap game where you're essentially trading cash in hand signing bonus to relieve yourself of cap space. Okay. So don't buy into that crap. All right. The salary cap is not fake, but boy, oh boy, is it maneuverable if you don't let the deadline date catch up to you. And Brian Gutekunst and Russ Ball are really, really good at that. So moving along, look at the cap space. Again, 14.3 million this year. Another big misconception is when you have fans that will think, oh, well, we're just going to waste that cap. Let's spend it. Let's go spend that money. No. If you don't need to spend that money, that just rolls into the next year. So that's 14.3 million that's already being calculated into the cap space for next year if you don't spend it. Typically, we want about, some people say 5 million. I say it's closer to 10 million, what we call operating expenses. So keep that cap space available. That way, if you need to make a signing, if somebody gets hurt, they go on IR, and you need to make a little bit of a splash for a $5 million player, you still got 5 million cushion as you go along. And most of the time, you just bring people up from the practice squad. And it's a minimum contract anyway. But I like $10 million in cushion. You got 14.3 here, which will roll in to the cap next year. All right. And again, look at Micah Parsons, guys. Year one with the Packers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the sixth highest cap hit at 9.9 million. Look how balanced this budget looks right here. So you got Jordan Love at 29.6, Rashawn Gary at 25.7, Xavier McKinney 17.8, Elton Jenkins 17.6, Josh Jacobs 11.3, and then Micah Parsons at 9.9. You remember Aaron Banks? Everybody was just, oh, they were so worried about overpaying for Aaron Banks. Again, focus on the guaranteed money. It looked like a huge deal. What was it, $77 million? And then when you key in on what the actual guarantee was, you go, yeah, that's not a whole lot. You can actually get out of Aaron Banks' contract after 2 years, as opposed to most contracts Goody signs with a 4-year deal. It's really a 3-year deal. In Aaron Banks' situation, if it don't work out, 2 years, you can get out from under that thing. You're still going to have a little bit of a cap penalty, but you're going to free up significant space. And that might be another avenue you take if Anthony Belton is a home run, right? If when John Williams, 7th-round pick, all of a sudden gets healthy, after the back surgery and everything, and he looks good to go, there's you another one. Jordan Morgan, the reason we took him in the first round last year, right? It's plain as day to me. Rasheed Walker will most likely be a free agent unless he's willing to take a very, very, very team-friendly deal. He'll be a free agent. He'll walk. Jordan Morgan is already prepared to step in at left tackle. He looked way better than anything he's put on tape at guard, right? So look for that to be the long-term move to save a bunch of cap space as well, right? So also, we talk about Elton Jenkins. Elton Jenkins' cap hit's going to go up significantly, right, in 2026. And we'll talk about it in a second. When it does, you're going to be able to free up cap space if you move on from him. And then maybe that's when you put Tom to center. Maybe you draft the center of the future. Maybe you got somebody else that you really like at center. If if Elton Jenkins tries to break the bank with another deal over the age of 30. So it's something else to take into consideration. So again, 14.3 million in cap space for 2025. Let's move to 2026. Look at this, guys. 36.2 million in cap space for 2026 as it sits right now. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to have 36 million to spend. You've got other things that are come into factor. You're going to look to extend guys as well this year. I'm looking at some of the contracts that are kind of expiring after this year, like your Christian Watsons, your Romeo Dobbs. We've talked about all these players, right? Who do you want to re-sign? Quay Walker. To me, the only one I would be interested in as it sits right now, barring a breakout year from Quay Walker, because I would like to see Tyron Hopper step in his place alongside Edgerrin Cooper. That way you don't have to pay Quay Walker significant money moving forward, unless he's, just like I said with Rasheed Walker, willing to take a very team-friendly deal. So when you look at that, Christian Watson's one that grabs my attention. I'm not saying you should just go out while the knee isn't fully healthy and give a 4-year deal. I would look for a 1-year Bridget deal, or what I would look to do is wait for the knee to get healthy and then give a fair market value, something that, who knows, maybe you can get him back for 10 to 15 million per. That would be awesome, right? But again, we'll see. It's all going to come down to how healthy is he. And you just drafted Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. It's obvious, a first and a third round pick. You're going to want those guys to be your two go-to guys. You've also got Jaden Reed, who's got 2 more years left on his deal. He's been your most effective wide receiver. So once we acquired Micah Parsons, I'm going to be 100% honest, and I'm not saying I don't want Christian Watson back. Kind of feels like that might be a guy that ends up walking in free agency unless you get a team-friendly deal. I want to give a shout-out here to Max Curley for becoming a member on YouTube. Thank you so much, Max. Cool profile pic too, my man. Appreciate you supporting the channel. We'll make sure you're entered into our giveaways. So Chris C with the super chat. Thank you, Chris. Good to see you. But he says Golden switched his number to 0. I've seen that, man. We're going to talk about that tonight. That's exciting. So Golden's wearing 0. Micah Parsons is wearing 1. Guys, I've been on multiple tours at Lambeau and dug into the history. It was common knowledge that the number 1 was set aside for Curly Lambeau. The fact that they gave it to Micah, pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. And again, it's not retired, so it was never off the table completely, but that's been explained to me numerous times that, hey, no, nobody wears number 1 because that's set aside for Curly. I think Curly would be okay with Micah Parsons wearing number 1 going out there and competing for a Lombardi. That's just me, though. So, Chris, appreciate the super chat, buddy. I'm excited to see those jersey sales. It's going to be through the roof. So 2026, $36.2 million in cap space. Look at the dead cap, guys. Only $17.1 million in dead cap. That's a far cry from the 54.6, right? That's because of the acceleration of the Kenny Clark situation. And I think there might be a little bit of dead cap there with Kenny in year 2. I've seen differing opinions on that. I wouldn't get too caught up in how important or significant that is. But again, $36.2 million in cap space. Look at the cap hit now on Micah Parsons. It jumps to 19.2. He's still the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th highest cap hit on the team. Really, really cool. Now, again, Elton Jenkins jumps to 24.8, right? Look at the dead cap, though, guys, 4.8 million. So the people that are going, oh, my God, what are we going to be able to do with this cap? If Elton Jenkins doesn't want to restructure, we'll give him a little more guaranteed money to lower the overall number, cash over cap, right? Here's you a check in hand. It's fully guaranteed, but we got to reduce the overall number. If he doesn't want to do that, you can cut him outright and you free up $20 million right on the spot. So imagine that, freeing up $20 million. Now you got $56.2 million in cap space. You can see how that window's open. I'm not saying I don't want Elton Jenkins back. Don't take that the wrong way. Just simply saying that's one of many options. I'll give you another one, Rashawn Gary, right? $28 million cap hit. His dead cap is $17 million. You could free up $11 million by cutting him outright. I don't think you should do that. I want to see Rashawn Gary until he shows the drop-off, which last year was one of his best years. First time voted to the Pro Bowl. He was number 80 on the top 100, voted on by his peers, by the people who had to line up across from him. They said, hey, that's the 80th best player in the entire league. I want him back. I could see that being something where that $18 million in base salary convert, erase $9 million of it off, give him $5 million fully guaranteed. You could shave, $4 million off the cap that way. You got a whole lot of contracts like that on this roster as well. So keep that in mind. Aaron Banks, we were talking about him, right? So year 2 of Aaron Banks, $24.8 million. The dead cap's $20.2. You could cut him outright and only free up $4 million. Don't think you want to do that. Again, I think that play will come in year 3 to see if you truly want to keep him on the roster. We'll talk about it in a second. So again, $36.2 million in cap space for 2026. Now, it's kind of pointless to jump all the way ahead to 2027, but we're going to do it just for craps and giggles here. All right. I'm sorry. Before we get on that, I got ahead of myself. 2026 draft pool. So these are the draft picks they're kind of projecting or what have you. Number 12, the 12th overall pick, the 44th overall pick. Keep in mind too, guys, they're still updating their numbers. So when you see this round 1 pick 12, we don't have a first round pick in 2026. So whatever that's slotted in at, if they had it slotted in, let's say at $6 million or $5 million, shave that off that cap number as well, which is another thing. You essentially said, all right, we're going to trade. This is what it's like. This is the way I look at the Micah Parsons deal. Okay. You drafted him with the first round pick. That's what your first round pick, whatever it's going to be in 2026, you drafted him with that. And you also gave up the following first round pick. So that's how I see that personally is, it's obviously it's 2 players for 1. I really, really like the compensation they settled on. And again, if you don't trade Kenny Clark, which we all would agree he's underperformed the last 3 to 4 years, if you don't trade Kenny Clark in this deal, your cap is out of control in 2026 right here. So that's why when we heard the news, 2 firsts and Kenny, I went, oh, all right. So you didn't have to give up a 3rd first round pick and you wiped that huge cap hit off the books. You kind of accelerated the dead cap, but you're still freeing up a ton of money. Some people, the negative fans, only want to focus on the dead cap. They want the dead cap penalty at 0 every year. That's physically impossible for the entire National Football League, right? If you want to do business and you want to truly compete, there may be teams with 0 dead cap. I guarantee you they're not competing for championships, right? So if that's the case, then you got to play a little bit of that dead cap game in today's NFL anyway. So your cap totals, that's how everything shakes out. The projected, it may be higher. That's the other thing we're not even mentioning is they're kind of projecting based off how the cap has gone multiple year average, not just last year where it jumped significantly. So they're saying the salary cap 307.1, your 2025 rollover cap, the Packers salary cap, 307. Your rollover cap, 14.3. That's what we were talking about. The adjusted salary cap is now $321 million for the Packers. Active roster only 268. So you balance everything out. You got the dead money of 17.1, all that stuff, $36.2 million. Now, moving ahead to 2027. Your cap space as it sits right now is $141 million in cap space in 2027. Now, listen, that number sounds astronomical. It's going to be way, way, way lower than that. You're going to get to year 3 and you're going to be right against the gun, right? And that's why I mean this is the third year, or 2028 is when you really get against the gun, but 2027 is when you got to really start looking at, okay, what's the plan? Did this work? And now we need to start cleaning up a little bit of the mess and get geared up for the next run here. Remember the end of the Aaron Rodgers era, how we kind of pushed all the chips into the middle of the table, and then you realize in that last year you missed the playoffs. Aaron's thumb was broke. This okay, you know what? We're going to move on. Let's clean this up a bit. What's cool is we made the playoffs while cleaning that mess up. Now you got a 3-year window to actually compete. So look at some of these cap hits. Jordan Love jumps to $42.4 million. The dead cap is 31.7, right? The base salary is only 10.4. So when you look at Jordan's, there's not a whole lot of ground or room to make up right there, right? Probably going to be playing on that 42.4 or 42.4. Now, keep in mind, by the time we get to that year, there's going to be other quarterbacks whose cap hit's going to be through the freaking roof. So that's the beautiful thing about signing guys early. Get them signed early so you can get the hit out of the way before the normal average for that position and that caliber player continues to go up. We just reset the bar with Micah Parsons, right? There's going to be 2 or 3 edge defenders that sign a new deal in the next year and a half, 2 years that are going to make that look silly. That's just the way this is going to happen. That's the way the business works. So look at Gary here. He turns 30 in 2027, $31 million cap hit, only $8.5 million in dead cap. It looks to me like 2027, unless Gary is continuing to stay healthy and just play solid football, they'll probably look to either move on from Gary in 2027 or ask him to do what we did with Preston Smith, which is basically you look at Gary's base salary, $21 million. Hey, Gary, listen, we need to shave $8 million off the cap this year. Okay. How about we meet in the middle there? All right. So how about we cut, 16 million off of your base salary and we give you 8 million fully guaranteed. Right. And he's got to make a decision. Okay, it's either that or them cut me outright. I'm 30 years old. Will another team pay me that 8 million or whatever it may be in the adjustment phase? So that's something we'll have to have an answer to that question in 2027. That's why we hope Lucas Van Ness is a hit. If he takes that step this year, you can move on from Gary in 2027. And now you got Micah Parsons, LVN, and Baron Sorrell hopefully will be stepping up by that point, which he looked great in preseason, and any other players that you may bring in, on a young contract. So Micah Parsons' cap hit jumps to 26.8. And again, you're not even looking at potentially doing anything until year 4 with him, with his contract. Xavier McKinney, 22.5. All right, he's only going to be 28 years old, $22.5 million cap hit. His dead cap, $5.7 million. Base salary, $14.6. You got some maneuverability there if you want to play cash over cap, if you're just dominating and wanting to extend this championship window. All right. Aaron Banks, this is what I wanted to hit on. Notice, $22.2 million in year 3, dead cap, 13.5. If it hasn't worked out, you just cut him outright and you're going to free up $9 million in cap space and you got your young offensive lineman ready to step in. If he is playing pretty good football, you're probably going to have him play on that number. That's why I don't know if he'll be here in 2027. We'll see, though. Only time will tell. So that's how that lays out. You look at the draft pool, same thing. They're just setting the averages at the round 1 pick 12. So keep in mind, we don't have a first round pick in 2027 as well. So this cap hit number should go down a touch as well in that regard, because you're probably going to shave off anywhere from 5 to 7 million, unless they've already got it baked in and have not explained how they're doing that over at Spot Track. So that's how that shakes out. Again, that's assuming you roll all 36.2 million in rollover cap in. Don't know if that'll happen, but only time will tell. So again, that's what I wanted to hit on today. I didn't want to go 24 minutes here. I want to go 10 minutes, but obviously we get to talking, and that's the way this stuff happens. But just wanted to give everybody an idea salary cap wise. We're sitting at 14.3 this year. Next year, we're sitting at 36.2. Expect that number to go down significantly by the time we get to that season, because we're looking to re-sign a player or two, right? And then in 2027 is when you got some tough decisions to make on like Rashawn Gary and players like that, maybe Aaron Banks. guys like that. Josh Jacobs, we didn't even look at Josh Jacobs. His base salary is 12 too. So if he's still playing good football at 29 years old, you can do a little cash over cap conversion there as well. So you got a bunch of smaller contracts that you can do that, or mid-range contracts, I should say, that you could do that with. So hopefully that answers a few questions anybody had. Listen, I want to hear your all's take in the comments. Okay, let me know. Put in the comments, do you think this was a good deal? Do you like the structure of the Micah Parsons contract? Do you not like it? Do you think they overpaid? All opinions are welcome as long as they're respectful. Let us know in the comments. Once this all kind of hits, I know we're live right now. It'll be also edited into a video form because some people don't even look at the live streams. They just go to the videos. So we'll give it in there. You guys let us know in the comments there. And as Biz1987 says, this short show sucks. They all suck. That's just the way it goes. So we'll see you guys tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. We're doing a special episode, Micah Parsons highlights / film study chalk talk. We're going to show you all 12 and a half of his sacks from last year, what he does well, and then we're going to also try to get into some of the run stops. We'll hit the news first on the first part of the show, so we'll give you any updates coming out of 1265, and then we'll get into the chalk talk. So hopefully everybody has an awesome day out there. Listen, don't drink too heavy today, all right? Sometimes that first weekend of football catch up to you, end up in the clink. You know what I'm saying? Drink responsibly today. Pace yourself and make sure you're in here at 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you tonight. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack.
Here we go.
We're out.
Bye, guys.